6 yards away. Kick on the way, and it is good!
Welcome back to my channel. This is Workplace Sports Talk. I'm your guy, Tim that Talks. Today we're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans' victory over the Seattle Seahawks 33-30, where you had a game-winning field goal by Bullock in his first game as a Tennessee Titan, coming in clutch in overtime. The Tennessee Titans is back. Derrick Henry is back. Julio Jones is back. Fade the intro. This is such a good game. This was one of the more thrilling games I've seen in quite some time against a very good opponent. Seattle Seahawks is a very tough team, and they showed it today. The Titans had to do everything to come back in this game. The Titans had to pull out all the tricks to come back in this game, but they fought through it. They fought through the adversity. They fought through all the bad calls by the referees. And we all know that was a touchdown by Julio Jones, but it's fine, because guess what? You can take points off the board. We're still going to find a way to win. The Titans just going to hit and hit and hit until they knock you down and get that dub. So this is a very good game. All right, first, I'm going to start with the observations from this game. All right, Derrick Henry is on pace to being a rushing leader for the third year in a row. He had 35 carries for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns for an average of 5.2 yards. Not to mention, he can catch now. He caught 6 passes for 55 yards, a career high for Derrick Henry. It's not that he caught the passes, it's how he looked when he did it. He looked confident, and he looked like he's been doing this for years. This is the Derrick Henry I've been wanting to see. Now, King Henry is one dangerous running back now. Now that you add catching onto his resume, I don't know what teams are going to do now against Derrick Henry, and he showed it today. It doesn't matter what you do, I'm going to get mine. Either I'm going to run over you or I'm going to run through you. King Henry was King Henry today. More observations. Jamal Adams on defense and DK Metcalf on offense. These guys were playing reckless all day today. Adams was playing through the whistle. At one point, he was punching at Derrick Henry's ball, but he was actually punching Derrick Henry in the arm. Adams played well, but he was playing reckless, and I didn't like what I was seeing from him. And I guess some of the Titans players didn't like it neither, because Pruitt got him back. Seattle Seahawks defense was playing bad. They had over 100 yards in penalties, which helped the Titans win this game today. We were obviously the more disciplined team, and it showed with the W. Hall of Fame Julio Jones showed up today, and it was good to see. He was 6 catches for 128 yards, which makes that 21.3 yards per catch. Julio Jones was balling out today, and I'm glad he did, because A.J. Brown was struggling a little bit. He had 3 drops, but Julio Jones and A.J. Brown in this offense showed up today in the way I thought they could be. It was good to see Julio Jones be Julio Jones today. Now, Julio Jones, to me, did have a touchdown. When you look at the replay, he did not touch the out of bounds. I don't know how they were able to overturn that touchdown, but when it's all said and done, it didn't matter. More observations. The Tennessee Titans receivers had a case of the drops today, and leading that was A.J. Brown. The guy who is more reliable had 3 really bad drops today, and I'm sure it has something to do with him playing Seattle Seahawks. Him and DK Metcalf, they both had bad games. You can tell that they both built this game up to themselves, and they basically both of them dropped the ball. DK was worrying about fighting people, and AJ Brown couldn't catch anything. He had almost 10 targets, but only 3 catches. So this was definitely un-AJ Brown-like, and hopefully going forward, he could be more consistent, because we could have blown the Seattle Seahawks out, possibly, if AJ Brown catches a lot of those balls. The unsung hero of today's game will have to be Michael Pruitt. The stats are not going to show that he had a big impact in today, but the 3 catches that he did come in very big moments for the Tennessee Titans. They came in clutch, and he also drew some really good penalties against him that came at opportune moments for the Tennessee Titans. He did the dirt work today. He went in there and was just laying Adams out every chance that he got, and that he was just being that dirty, grimy player that a guy who's fourth on the depth chart to be. He's doing it, and he did it very well today. He was definitely the spark for the Tennessee Titans in the second half. An unsung hero in Michael Pruitt. Elijah Molden, the star from preseason, even a rising star, a rising rookie for the Tennessee Titans, got exposed today. There was a couple bad plays that he made, and he actually got benched in the second half, and Chris Jackson started in the second half and looked better. Chris Jackson wound up with 5 touchdowns. He was better in coverage than Elijah Molden. He needs some more film study, needs some more time. You can tell the moment just got above him. He had nothing for Tyler Lockett, and it showed, and the Titans made a good call by putting him on the bench because this moment was too big for him. And it was good to see that we have depth. Chris Jackson came in like the starter that we thought he was going to be, and he played very well against the Seattle Seahawks receivers. I'm going to go over some of the good that I saw in the Tennessee Titans game against the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to start with the number one thing. Derrick Henry is King Henry for a reason. To me, he's almost got over 200 yards. So right now, to me, he has to be number one in rushes. I haven't looked at the stats yet and all the games haven't played, but it looks like he's already outpacing last year. So this is already starting out very well for the Tennessee Titans. Even though our offensive line is banged up, he's still trucking fools and stiff arm fools all over the place. So Derrick Henry is still Derrick Henry. The kicker Bullock came in clutch in overtime, and even though he almost missed that one, almost don't matter. He made it, and he came in clutch. It was good to see that he got the rebound from not one miss. So it's good to see that we didn't lose like we did last year against the Steelers. We didn't lose. We made that field goal. So now we're 1-1. And we're tied in the division. And Houston won their first game against Jacksonville Jaguars, whatever that's worth. Tyrod Taylor, like he got hurt Sunday's matchup, so they might even have Tyrod Taylor in the lineup. So Tennessee Titans got a good chance of being number one in the division after next Sunday's game. Julio Jones looks like Julio Jones. The Julio Jones that you thought was going to show up when the Tennessee Titans trade came through, that guy showed up today, and he showed up in the big way, coming in clutch. Offense had a better showing this week. They were able to score over 21 points, and it was good to see. There was some good and there was some bad, but all in all, we got the win, so it was good enough to win. And this is what I was talking about in my last video when it comes to the Titans. All I want them to do is look better week to week. They got to build chemistry. A lot of these guys didn't play in the preseason, so they need to get those live bullets. And as you can see, Tennessee Titans still are one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL, especially in the AFC. With the Steelers losing today, there's a chance for the Titans to be top 3 in the AFC. All right, next we're going to go over some of the bad that I saw in this game. Ryan Tannehill is holding the ball a little too long. He is double clutching and double patting the ball way too much for me, especially on third down. Our offensive line cannot hold up for over 5 seconds. They just can't do it, especially our tackles. Sombralo had to start, but he can't cover everybody for over 5 seconds. Tannehill his internal clock has to be faster. He's got to speed up his progressions. I know he wants to go for the big play. He's a gambler like Verbal. I know he wants to go for the big play, but he's got to be more conscious of what's going on third down and his offensive line issues right now. The next bad observation I saw from the Tennessee Titans, I already stated earlier, too many drops, especially on third down. Those are just killers in the series. We cannot afford to drop wide open passes or passes that Ryan Tannehill puts in your hand. If they're in your hand, they got to be caught. And the last bad thing I saw from the Sunday's game against the Seattle Seahawks is the officiating was so brutal in this game. They literally took 8 points off the board for us. They took that Julio Jones touchdown away, and they took that safety away in overtime. I don't understand what they saw, and I don't understand that play. when it comes to that safety. That was a safety anywhere in the world. So I don't understand that. And that touchdown. You call it a touchdown, but didn't look like it was enough evidence, and then you overturn it? Like, I don't even understand that. And not to mention, we benefited by some of the bad play calling. That taunting on A.J. Brown was huge. Even though he did taunt, it was ticky-tack, that was huge. But other than that, the officiating was skewed against the Titans, as we're used to as Titans fans. Most official crews do not like us. Okay, and today was a perfect example. We won despite officiating. Now I'm going with some quick hits for the offensive side of the ball. Ryan Tannehill, all in all, had a very good game. He threw over 300 yards, and that was good to see that he can win with his arm. For the most part, his decision-making was good. The offensive line gave him more time. In the second half, Ryan Tannehill decided to use his legs even more. You got to use all the weapons to your disposal. So that was good to see that Ryan Tannehill remembered he can run the ball, and he can run the ball very effectively. Derrick Henry did some things today that you normally don't see. He was in pass protection. He was protecting Ryan Tannehill really good today. I haven't seen Derrick Henry pick up pass protections as good as he did today. If you go back and look at the film, he was lifting defenders up, keeping Ryan Tannehill clean. And again, Derrick Henry got hands. I'ma say that again, that what he did, catching out of the backfield and running his routes, was very good. His hands look like big bear mitts, and that's what I want to see. A lot of screen plays went to him, and that was good to see because this man is dangerous in the open field. Derrick Henry had a very good 60-yard run. I mean, what he does, you can't make mistakes like those defenders do. He is going to make you pay, and the safety for the Seattle Seahawks knew it. Once he saw this big truck coming at him, he was like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to run beside him. He tried to run beside him. He had a very good angle, but just like everybody realized, Derrick Henry is one fast human being. And the next thing you know, he's behind him. He dives at him, and then that big paw mitt comes at your head and pushes you down to the ground. He was disgusted, just transpired from his defenders and getting smashed into the ground. And I can't blame him. You are a highlight reel, my guy. All right, Julio Jones was another star from this game against the Seattle Seahawks. He had some very clutch third down catches. And like I said in my prior video in week 1, Tennessee Titans receivers, especially A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, almost all their passes and catches are going to be contested. So Tannehill's got to put it on the dime for these guys. And Julio Jones' first catch, dude was draped all over him. He double caught the ball on the ground. That's when I knew this is going to be a good game for Julio Jones. His concentration is on point today, and he showed it with his 6 catches. Again, another unsung hero is Michael Pruitt came in the second half, gave the Tennessee Titans a spark. He was causing penalties. He was drawing penalties against DK Metcalf. He was laying Adams out every chance that he got. He was catching good deep balls. Like, he looked like he was the best tight end on the field for any team. And Michael Pruitt is 3rd or 4th on the depth chart, and he probably wouldn't have played this much today if Ferguson don't get hurt. So Michael Pruitt is showing his worth right now, and I like to see it because he deserves it. He's been putting the work in ever since he's been a Tennessee Titan. He's just getting better and better every year, and today was a good coming out game for Michael Pruitt. All right, I'm gonna go over the offensive line. They really came through today, even though Lawan got hurt in pregame warm-ups. You had Ty Sambrailo come through and play pretty good. You had Brewer come in for Safford every chance that Safford went down because he's obviously going through a shoulder injury. Other than that, the offensive line, they're a very cohesive team now. They know that any moment they can be called up. So the offensive line coach is doing his job. He's making his money. These offensive line guys are ready to come in and play short-term snaps and play at a reasonably high level. Our observations from the offensive play calling. This is, to me, was a good game for the offensive play caller. I like what I saw, a lot of 3 receiver sets. And like I said, I think Chester Rogers is a very good addition as a Titan slot. He's already looks like he's better than any slot that we've had in quite some time. This guy is strong at the point of attack. He's got good hands. He's getting open, and he's a tough little guy. And I love Chester Rogers. Now, I didn't like what he's doing in the kick return game, but as a receiver, as a slot receiver for the Titans, he's playing very well, and is damn near made Josh Reynolds irrelevant to the Tennessee Titans. Titans also added a new wrinkle for this game. They did a lot of empty back sets, and I like that. Either Henry was getting a catch or they were throwing a really quick slant. The Seattle Seahawks had nothing for that formation. They've never seen it before, and you can tell they didn't know what to do, especially when Derrick Henry was on the field in that empty set. Seattle Seahawks were lost. So that was a very good wrinkle that I saw from the Tennessee Titans. On the defensive side of the ball, there were some very good players. Kristian Fulton is the star for the defensive backcourt. This guy was shutting DK Metcalf down. This was a good coming out party for Kristian Fulton. Now, he had one bad coverage break that went for a touchdown against Swain, but all in all, he shut one of the best receivers on the field down. DK Metcalf couldn't catch almost nothing, so he decided he wanted to fight and play reckless. Fulton was in his head and showed how he could be one of the premier cornerbacks in the league. I like what I saw from Kristian Fulton today. Jack Rabbit also had a good game. He's just not as physical as Fulton, but he also had another good game also. So Jack Rabbit Jenkins is another good addition to the Tennessee Titans. Defensive interior line played well again. They were getting pressure as if they did against the Arizona game. The difference is they couldn't wrap Murray up, but they did wrap Russell Wilson up and made him get off the spot, and it made him throw some incomplete passes. So the defensive line played better today. Even Bud Dupree came through today. No sacks, but he almost had a strip sack, but he did cause an incomplete pass. Very, very good play in the overtime. He made a very clutch play in the overtime. So he's showing his worth. It's just the second game, but I like what I see. He is getting to the quarterback, but he was getting a little bit manhandled today against the offensive line. So some of that's troubling, but he didn't have a preseason either. And he's come off an injury. He still needs time to acclimate, so he's still playing well. There was 3 sacks by the Tennessee Titans. I like that we already got 5 sacks. I think 5 or 6 sacks this season already. So we're already starting off better than we did last year. It couldn't get no worse than what we had last year, and the Titans are doing it this year. Where you had Danico Autry with a sack and a half. You had Jeffrey Simmons with a half a sack. That's 2 weeks in a row he's coming in with the pressure and getting the sacks. And then you had number 92, Adadaye, with a very clutch sack in overtime. Should have been a safety, but he still made a very good play. And he's shown like he's a very, very good pickup from John Robinson from the Steelers. I like this guy. He is quick on the outside. In closing, this is a very good win for the Tennessee Titans. Okay, I personally didn't have the Titans win. I thought the Seattle Seahawks were the better team, but through adversity, the Titans shown why they are a contender in the AFC South, and it was good to see. I'm probably not going to doubt them no more. I saw what I thought the Titans could be in preseason, and with the acquisitions that they made, a lot of the pieces fell into play today. And that was what I didn't think was going to happen from the Arizona game, but it did. And so hopefully they can carry this on for the next few games. Our next game against a Bears Coast team. Right now, Frank Wright is coaching very bad right now. He is gambling when he shouldn't be gambling. Carson Wentz is looking like an average quarterback, which is what he is, an average quarterback. And right now, he's not even a healthy average quarterback. So the Colts are primed to take down. They don't have a run game, and their best receiver is not healthy, T.Y. Hilton. And right now they are struggling offensively and somewhat defensively, but Colts are primed for the taking. This is a very good win again because it sets the next 3 games are against the Colts, the Jets, and the Jags. 2 of those are division games, okay? And the Jets are a very bad team. Wilson threw 4 interceptions today, all right? So Titans should be able to eat in all those games. So when it's all said and done, it's possible that if the Titans could take care of business, they could be 4-1 when it comes to when they meet the Buffalo Bills on October the 18th for a very big AFC showdown to show who's going to take over dominance in the AFC. So if the Titans could be 4-1 going into that game, you're talking about a big primetime game most likely. And this is what you want to be at as a Tennessee Titans fan, as your team to be climbing up the hill to being one of the best teams in the AFC. So right now, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm not going to overreact from today's win, but there was a lot of good things from today's win that you can take on to further other weeks, as well as the AFC South is weak. We got quarterback issues from Houston and the Colts with injury concerns, and the simple fact that Trevor Lawrence is not playing well. These are prime for the Tennessee Titans to be a very good team in the AFC South. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos. Put that notification bell on. And thank you for listening to my content. This is Workplace Sports Talk. I'm your guy, Tim That Talks. See you next time. Tighten up.